Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how I made my Christmas wreath for my front door. It's mainly made out of natural materials and branches, but the base is a wire frame and this one is 16 inches. The first thing I'm going to do is to take some green garden twine and secure it onto the wreath frame. What I'm going to do is then start to wrap it around the wire of the wreath frame, so that then when we put the moss on, it's secure and it doesn't fall through. So I'm just going to wrap it all the way around like this in a zigzag, the whole way around the frame, to give us some security for our moss. Once I've got all the way around and I'm back to where I've started, I'm going to leave the green twine still attached. And then I'm going to take a large handful of moss and start to position it over the zigzags that we've just made. And then continue on around, wrapping that green twine around the moss to secure it in place. Once I'd finished, I just put that to one side and just gathered the rest of the things that I needed. So I have got I've got some branch cutters or secateurs, and I've also got some flexible but strong gardening wire. And what I've got is a variety of green foliage. So this is blue spruce, but I've also got some other evergreens and some conifers which I'm going to use to layer together. The method that I'm using is really easy, so I'm not going to wire together my picks and place them on the wreath. I'm just going to wrap it around like we did with the moss, but gather them together in bunches, and I hope you can see how I'm going to do that in a minute. The first thing that I do need to do is take the strong wire, and I'm just going to wrap it around the top of the wreath, and I'm just twisting it to secure it. And I'm going to make a loop with this as well, so then I've got somewhere to hang it up. I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times just to make sure it's secure, and that will be the starting point of where I'm going to put the greenery. You can see how indecisive I am, but I thought I'd leave that in there just to show you that you can just take your time and just have a couple of goes just to see what you think looks right, and when you're happy with it, you just lay the picks or the greenery that you've got, lay it on top of the moss and take this wire and wrap it around the stems of those branches. And what I've done is just left the wire in the middle so that when I'm ready for the next time I can grab it. And you can see my dog. hope you can see by this point it's actually starting to come together really quickly. And I've just left this part in here just to show you that I'm using different colours and textures and layering them up as I go around the wreath so that it stays even. It's probably best if you divide up all of your materials beforehand so you know how much of each you have as you go through. You can also add in holly with berries on at this point so that you've got some colour going all the way through, but I decided that I was going to keep mine pretty natural, keep it green, and then add in some other things towards the end. I've just switched the angle around here just so that I can show you what happens when we get all the way around. You can see here that this is where we've started, and so what we need to do is lay the stems underneath that to hide them. Now we have the base of the wreath finished, it means we can start adding in some of the extra details. I've gone quite traditional, I'm just keeping with pine cones and orange segments. I'm then going to finish it off with some battery operated fairy lights. I just got these out of Tesco's, I think they're about £4. So the first thing I'm going to do is just position the pine cones where I want them, so I'm just picking it up here to see where the top is. I've chosen 5 pine cones because I think odd numbers look best, and I'm just going to eyeball it and position them where I think I want them to go. To attach the pine cones, I'm just going to use some floristry wire. This is 14 inches and it's quite thin but easy to bend. So what I'm going to do is just wrap that around the base of the pine cone just a couple of times, and then the tail end of the wire I'm going to wrap it around the wreath itself, and then what I did on a couple of these is tuck the end of the wire and pushed it into the moss base so that it's not sharp on the other side. Once I was happy with where I'd positioned my lights, I then used the same wire that I used for the pine cones and threaded it through the orange segments and gave it a couple of twists, put it in position, and then twist the 2 legs around and twisted it at the back and poked that excess wire into the moss again just so that it wasn't sharp. The last thing I added was this gold ribbon. I think it could have stayed as it is, but I decided to go a little bit extra. I did watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to make this bow, but I've just positioned it in my hands first, and once I was happy with it, I used another piece of the green floristry wire, attached it around the centre of the bow and positioned it on the wreath, again twisting it at the back just to make sure that it was staying in place. And there we have it, my finished wreath. It's really easy to make, and I'm really pleased on the way it turned out. Thank you so much for watching my video, and please give it a like if you enjoyed it.